Hey there, welcome back. Hey, my name is Drew, and welcome to my little series on a little study that Joseph Priestley, the scientist, preacher, right, many things like that, wrote in the 18th century on the comparison between Socrates and Jesus. So, our topic today in section 4 is the imperfection of Socrates, idea concerning piety and virtue in general. All right. Welcome along, and thanks for coming and listening. Please comment if you got any ideas or just inspired. All right, let's begin. Just as sublime as were the sentiments that Socrates professed concerning the power and providence of the gods, and of the obligation that men are under to reverence and worship them, his ideas of the manner in which this was to be done were by no means such as might have been expected in consequence of them. According to him, all the duties that properly rank under the head of piety are the observance of the religious rites of the country in which men live. Quote, "The gods," he says, "are not to be honored by every man as he pleases, but as the laws dictate." This was agreeable to the answer received from Delphi, Delphi, that's the oracle. When inquiry was made concerning the manner in which men should please the gods, the answer returned was, by complying with the institutions of our country. After mentioning this, Socrates added that all states had decreed that the gods are to be placated by sacrifices according to the faculties of each of them. Now, what the rites of the heathen religions were, those of Athens by no means excepted, is well known. Little did they accord with any just sentiments of what we now deem to be piety, that is, a reverence for the perfections and providence of God, gratitude for his favors, submissions to his will, and a strict obedience to the moral precepts he has enjoined, and confidence in his protection and favor in consequence of it. With these sentiments, sacrifices and the other rites of the heathen religions had no connection whatever. Rather, they were the occasion and provocatives of licentiousness and lewdness, as must have been well known to Socrates himself. The moral maxims of Socrates, independent of those relating to religion, are admirable, especially his saying that, quote, "there is no better way to true glory than to endeavor to be good rather than seem to be so," unquote. But his general rule concerning the nature of justice, in which he probably included virtue in general, was that, quote, "whatever is lawful or agreeable to the laws is just, whereas nothing can be more variable than the laws of particular states, or more discordant with one another." With respect to the subjects of religion and morals in general, Socrates always preferred or professed a greater regard to the laws than reason or good sense will justify, though he might be induced to say more on this subject in consequence of his being accused of being no friend to popular religion, and of corrupting youth by attaching them to himself, to the neglect of their parents and others. And it is very possible that in some of his instructions he had inculcated duties of a purer and higher kind than the institutions of his country would encourage or authorize. Such, however, might be expected from the sentiments he generally expressed. Considering the wretched philosophy of the sophists, whose ostentation and absurdities Socrates exposed, we shall not wonder at the advice he gave his hearers with respect to the principal object of their pretended science. He recommended to them the study of geography, astronomy, and the sciences in general, only so far as they were of practical use in life. But he particularly dissuaded them from the study of the structure of the universe because, he said, it was not designed to be discovered by man, nor could it be agreeable to the gods to have that inquired into which they did not make known to man. For nothing could be more presumptuous than the manner in which those sophists and the philosophers of those times in general decided concerning this great subject. And with them, it led to nothing of any real value with respect to men's conduct, but puffed them up with conceit, without any foundation of real knowledge. On this account, he is said by Seneca to have reduced all philosophy to morals. Totum philosophiam revocat ad mores epist. Oh, okay. But could Socrates have seen the progress that a truer philosophy than any that existed in his time has now made, and how directly it leads to the most profound admiration of the works and providence of God, unfolding the wisdom, power, and goodness of the great Creator? And had he seen the connection, the text is kind of faded somewhat. This is the original 1803 book. And had he seen the connection which his reverence for God, and consequently for his laws, has on the system of revelation, with moral virtue, he would have been the first to lay stress upon it, and to inculcate it upon his pupils. As the laws of this country, which with Socrates were too much the standard of right, with respect both to religion and morals, were very imperfect on many subjects, we do not wonder that he did not express a sufficient indignation, such as those who are acquainted with the purer and more severe precepts of revealed religion relating to them, at some particular vices, especially sodomy, which the laws of God by Moses justly punished with death. When Critias, then his pupil, was in love with Euthydemus, and avowedly, as it should seem, for the vilest purposes, he dissuaded him from pursuing his object, but only as a thing that was illiberal, unbecoming a man of honor and decency, or delicacy. It was, he said, begging of the subject of his passion like a pauper, and for a thing that would do him no good. The gratification of this passion, he said, resembled a hog rubbing himself against a stone. This, no doubt, shows a contempt for this vice, but no sufficient abhorrence of it, as such a degradation of human nature ought to excite. When another of his pupils gave a kiss to a son of Alcibiades, who was very beautiful, he only asked whether it did not require great boldness to do it, meaning that after this it would not be easy to refrain from endeavoring to take greater liberties with him. There is too much of a pleasantry and too little of seriousness in this method of considering the subject. A similar remark may be made on the interview that Socrates had with the celebrated courtesan, the name of Theodota, whom he had the curiosity to visit on account of what he had heard of her extraordinary beauty and elegant form, so that statuaries applied to her to make models from her, and to whom the historian says she exhibited her person as much as decency would permit. In this situation, Socrates and his pupils found her, but in the conversation that he had with her, he discovered no just sense of the impropriety of her life and profession. She spoke to him of her gallants as her friends, who contributed to her support without labor, and hoped that by his recommendation she should procure more, adding, "How shall I persuade you to this?" He replies, "This you must find out yourself, and consider in what way it may be that in my power to be of use to you." When she desired him to come often to see her, he only jestingly said that he was not sufficiently at leisure from other engagements. Ready as Socrates was to give good advice to young men, he said, nothing to her to recommend a more virtuous and reputable course of life than that which he knew she led. It was not in this manner that Jesus and his apostles would have conversed with such a person. He did not decline all intercourse with women of her character, but it was not at their houses, and what he said was intended to instruct and reclaim them. He considered them as the sick and himself as the physician. Women of the profession of this Theodota, they had been well educated, were resorted to in the most open manner by men of the first character at Athens, as Aspasia by Socrates himself, and by Pericles, who afterwards married her. Nor was fornication in general with women of that profession at all disreputable either in Greece or at Rome. How much more pure are the morals of Christianity in this regard? So great, however, was the prevalence of this vice, and so little has it been considered as one in the heathen world, that the Apostle Paul, writing to the Christian churches in Greece, and especially at Corinth, the richest and most voluptuous city in that part of the world, is urgent to dissuade his converts from it. See particularly 1 Corinthians 4:9, I think. Where among those who would be excluded from the kingdom of heaven, he mentions fornicators in the first place. Quote, know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of God? Be not deceived, neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, or effeminate, effeminate, it's a fop, nor abusers of themselves with mankind, nor thieves, nor covetous, nor drunkards, nor revilers, nor extortioners shall inherit the kingdom of God. All right. Part 4, Imperfections of Socrates' life concerning piety and virtue in general. All right. That's it. It's hard to say because he's writing this in 1803, 1804. And, he was exiled from England because of the whole religious conflict that was going on in England at that time. So, I don't know what he's saying about the perfection of the Christian religion, which was, God, how much murder was done between, the whole 100 Years' War, that was entirely Christian on Christian violence. Inquisition, holy moly. Holy moly. He was exiled from England just because of his difference with the Church of England. Right? Anyway, there's more to that. But that'll stand for now. So I'll just cut it off right here. I'm at 13 minutes or almost 14 minutes. So yeah, that's it. So see you later. Thanks. And more in this stuff on the Socrates' daemon. That's a cool one. And other cool things like that. All right. Thanks a lot. See you later. Bye-bye.